Over the last 2 months, I put one question in front of 5 appliance repairmen. 5 different men, 5 different states, 5 different specialties, and between them, almost 130 years of taking machines apart for a living. The question was simple, and it is the single best question you can ask anybody in that trade. When your own machine dies, at your own house, what do you buy, with your own money? Because these are the people who see every brand, every failure, every service call the rest of us pay for. They have no commission, no loyalty, and no reason on this earth to lie about their own laundry room. I expected 5 different answers, maybe 10 different brands. What I got back was the same 3 names, over and over, in almost the same order, and their number 1 pick was unanimous. 5 for 5. No hesitation. And here is the part that should stop you cold. It is a brand most Americans have never once seen in a showroom. It does not advertise during the game. It is not sitting in the aisle at the big box store. And every single man who fixes appliances for a living pointed at it and said, "That one. That is what is in my house." Meanwhile, 2 of the biggest, best-selling appliance brands in America, the ones taking up half that aisle, got 0 votes. Not 1 man out of 5. By the end of this video, you are going to have all 3 names, the exact reasons in their own words, the brands they told me to walk past, and 1 sentence that every single one of them said to me, unprompted, in 5 different ways, that is worth more than the rest of this video combined. Let's start with who these men are, because who they are is why the answer matters. Earl is the senior man of the group, 38 years on washers and dryers in central Louisiana, the kind of shop where the phone number has not changed since Reagan. Denise runs refrigeration in Cleveland, 22 years. And she is the one the other shops call when a sealed system has everybody stumped. Marcus is the young one, 7 years in Phoenix, and his job is the most revealing one in this whole video, because Marcus does warranty work for the big retailers, which means he spends every day fixing brand new machines that failed in year 1. Roy works a 100-mile circle in rural Montana and fixes everything, because out there, you cannot afford to specialize. And Stan is retired now, 31 years. And he started behind a Sears service counter in Pennsylvania, when that still meant something, so he has watched this entire industry change from the inside of the truck. 5 careers, 5 parts of the country, 5 completely different windows into the same machines. If they disagreed, that would tell us something. They did not disagree. And before I give you the 3 names, you need to hear what happened when I asked, because the first thing I learned was not a brand at all. Every one of them, before answering, did the same thing. They laughed. Not a happy laugh. The other kind, the kind that says, "Oh, you actually want to know?" Because it turns out, the question I asked is the question their own customers almost never ask them. People ask what is good. People ask about the brand they already picked, hoping to hear they chose right. Almost nobody asks the man with his head inside the machine what he would carry home himself. Earl told me that in 38 years, he could count on 2 hands the customers who asked him that before they bought instead of after. After, he said, everybody asks. After is too late. So hold on to that, because whatever else you take from this video, the question itself is free, and it works on any honest technician in any town in America. Now, the 0 vote brands, because 2 or 3 of you just tensed up, and you deserve to know early. Samsung got 0 votes out of 5. So did LG's budget line, though LG splits the room in a way I will come back to, because it is the one place my 5 actually argued. And I want to be careful and fair here, the way they were. Not one of the 5 told me Samsung machines wash badly, or cool badly. That is not the complaint. Marcus, the warranty man, put it cleanest. He said, "They are beautiful machines that I cannot get parts for." He told me about jobs where a $30 component meant pulling the entire tub out of the cabinet, 3 hours of labor around one small part, and jobs where the part itself took weeks to arrive, while a family hauled laundry to town. Denise said the same thing from the refrigeration side, and then she said the sentence that ended the topic. "A machine I cannot get a part for is not a machine. It is furniture that hums." And you do not have to take their word for it, because one of the most respected appliance dealers in the country, an outfit in Boston that publishes its own service numbers every year, quietly stopped selling Samsung laundry altogether and the reason they gave was that they were tired of servicing it. When the people who profit from selling a brand give up the profit to escape the repairs. That is the whole review. And stay with Marcus one more minute, because his job gives him a window nobody else on this list has, and what he sees through it should change how you shop. Marcus fixes machines under warranty, which means every machine he touches is nearly new. He is not seeing what fails at year 12. He is seeing what fails in the first 18 months, on machines still shiny, and he says the pattern is so consistent he can call it from the driveway. Ice makers, first, always, by a mile. Then control boards, the electronic brains, which do not wear out so much as simply quit. Then drain pumps, and door latches, and on the fancy washers, the little auxiliary motors and dispensers, the extras. What he almost never replaces in year 1 is the heart. Compressors, drums, main motors. The parts that actually do the job, those survive. It is the decorations that die young, and here is his rule, the warranty man's rule, and I would frame it if I could. The more a machine can do on the day you buy it, the more it can be doing broken by Christmas. Every feature on the placard is not just a selling point, it is a candidate. Remember that when we get to what these 5 actually own, later in this video, because it explains every strange choice they make. So that is who got no votes. Now the 3 who did, counting down. And number 3 is the vote that surprised me most, because it is a premium brand, and these are not premium men. Number 3, Bosch. 4 votes out of 5, and the specific machine they kept pointing at was the dishwasher. Earl does not even work on dishwashers, and Earl owns a Bosch dishwasher. And the reason is not the quiet, although they mentioned the quiet. The reason is a number. In the published service data, real machines in real houses, Bosch dishwashers come back for service less than almost anything else in the entire appliance industry. Down in the low single digits in the first year, in a category where some competitors are 2 and 3 times that. Denise said her Bosch is 11 years old, and she has replaced exactly nothing. Stan said it is the only modern brand that reminds him of what he serviced in the 70s. Meaning simple where it counts, solid where it matters, and not trying to impress anybody. Now, the honest asterisk, because there always is one. Roy, in Montana, is the vote Bosch did not get, and his reason had nothing to do with the machine. He said the nearest authorized service was 2 hours away, and a great machine with no service behind it is a bad machine for him. Remember that logic. It is going to come back at number 1, pointed in the opposite direction. Number 2, and this one, 3 of the 5 said with a small shrug, like it was too obvious to count, Whirlpool, including, and Earl was specific about this, the plain machines, and one particular commercial-grade Maytag that Whirlpool builds, which he called the best-kept secret on the sales floor. Here is the shrug, in Marcus's words. It is not the best machine ever built. It is the machine I can always fix. And then he opened the van door and showed me why. Rows of parts, right there, because Whirlpool builds on shared platforms that have barely changed in years. Which means the part that fails is on the truck, or at the supply house across town, same day, $7 to $40. And the design leaves room for a man to reach in and change it. Roy said that in his 100-mile circle, Whirlpool is the difference between a Tuesday repair and a 2-week wait. Stan put it in a way I have not stopped thinking about. He said, everybody shops for the day they buy the machine. We shop for the day it breaks. Whirlpool wins the second day, and the second day is the one that costs you. And notice what none of them mentioned. Features, screens, cycles, not one word. Their number 2 pick in all of American appliances is, essentially, the machine that is easiest to save. Which tells you exactly where this is going. Because their number 1 is the machine you almost never have to save at all. And it was here, talking about parts on trucks, that Stan went quiet for a second, and then gave me the piece of history that explains why this question even needs asking now. Because when Stan started, behind a Sears service counter in Pennsylvania in the 70s, this video would have made no sense. Everything was fixable, he said. That was the whole business. The machines were standardized, the parts counter was in the back of every store in every town, the trucks ran all day, And the company that sold you the machine considered your machine its problem for as long as you owned it. A brand was not a logo to him. It was a service network with a logo on top. And then, over 30 years, he watched the whole structure get taken apart from underneath the machines. Counters closed, fleets sold, parts went proprietary, then went scarce, then went overseas, and the industry quietly moved from, "We service what we sell," to "Good luck with that." The machines did not just get worse, he said. The world that stood behind them got dismantled, and nobody sent the customers a letter. So now it falls to you to check what used to be guaranteed, which is exactly why 5 repairmen answer this question with the same 3 names. They are not naming their favorite machines. They are naming the last 3 places where the old promise still holds. Number 1. 5 votes. 5 for 5. No hesitation. Speed Queen. If you have never heard the name, that is not an accident. And it is not a mark against you. Speed Queen barely advertises. It is not in the big box aisle. It is built in Ripon, Wisconsin, in the same town, by the same company, that has been building laundry machines for over a century. And here is the fact that explains everything else. Speed Queen's main business is not selling washers to families. It is selling washers to laundromats. Think about what a laundromat machine survives. 8, 10 loads a day. Strangers. Overstuffed comforters. Zero mercy. For decades, a laundromat owner will not buy a machine designed for the curb, because every broken day is money gone. So the machines are built the old way. Metal transmissions, oversized motors, loafing along at half effort, mechanical controls a technician can diagnose with a meter, and the home machines come off that same philosophy. Earl has had his for 16 years. Total repairs, 1 belt, which he changed himself in 20 minutes with the machine pulled out from the wall. Denise bought hers after her 3rd service call on a fancy front loader that was 4 years old. Roy, the man who voted against Bosch over service distance, voted for Speed Queen precisely because, in his words, it does not need anybody within 2 hours, because it does not break. Same logic, opposite direction. And Marcus, the young warranty man who spends his days inside dying 1-year-old machines, said it plainest of all. I fix the new stuff all day. I am not bringing it home. Now, the honest part, because you have seen the price, and I am not going to pretend you have not. A Speed Queen costs more up front, sometimes half again what the machine next to it costs, and it is not fancy, and the wash is old school. Every one of the 5 acknowledged it, and every one of them said some version of the same math. You can buy one machine for 20 years, or the same machine 3 times. The expensive washer is the cheap one. It just sends the bill in a different order. Now, while I had them, I did not stop at brands. I asked what else is in the house, the whole kitchen, and this is where it got almost eerie, because the 5 of them, without comparing notes, own nearly the same rooms. Start with the refrigerators, because all 5 own the same style, plain. 4 top freezers and 1 basic bottom freezer, and among the 5 of them, the grand total of ice makers in the door is 0. Not 1 water dispenser, not 1 screen. Denise, the refrigeration specialist, the woman who can fix any ice maker in Ohio, does not own an ice maker, and when I pointed that out, she said, "That is not a coincidence. That is the resume. The indoor ice and water system is the single most repaired thing in the entire appliance world. The published service numbers say so, and her calendar says so, and the surest way to never pay for that repair is to never buy the part. She fills trays. The best refrigerator technician I could find fills ice trays like it is 1965, on purpose, and smiles about it. And the rule extends across everything they own. No Wi-Fi on anything. No touchscreens. No app-connected anything. Marcus said, every feature is a future service call with a bow on it. And Roy said the range in his house has knobs, because a knob is a switch. And a switch is a $2 part, and a touch panel is a $300 part that does the same job. 5 houses full of machines, and you could service the whole lot with a meter and a flathead. The people who understand these machines best own the simplest versions money can buy. Let that settle for a second, and then ask yourself, who all the complicated versions are actually built for. So there are your 3, plus the pattern behind them. Bosch for the dishwasher, Whirlpool for the machine anybody can fix. Speed Queen for the machine nobody has to. But I promised you the disagreements too, because the argument my 5 had is worth as much as their agreement. The argument was Miele, and it was the most interesting 20 minutes of this whole project. 3 of the 5 called Miele, flat out, the finest residential machine money can buy. German-built, engineered and tested to a 20-year standard, with spare parts the company keeps available for 15 years after a model ends, which is a promise almost nobody else in the industry will put in writing. Denise has seen the inside of one and said the build quality embarrassed everything else on her bench. And only 2 of the 5 would actually buy one, because the other 3 live and work in places where there is no authorized meal service within a reasonable drive, and their rule, the rule this entire video keeps landing on, would not let them. The best machine in the world, with nobody nearby to stand behind it, loses to a planer machine with a good technician 20 minutes away, every time. Even when the men doing the math are the technicians themselves. And LG, the other argument, Marcus defended them, said the reliability data on their laundry is genuinely strong, near the top of the published numbers. And he is right, it is. Earl and Roy would still not own one, over parts access, and over the thin bearings on the cheap end of the line. Both positions are true at once. That is what a real answer looks like. It is not clean, and anybody who hands you a clean answer is selling something. Which brings me to the sentence, the one all 5 of them said, unprompted, in 5 different ways. And once you hear it, you will never shop for an appliance the same way again. Earl said, I do not buy machines, I buy the day they break. Denise said, I am not buying a refrigerator, I am buying the phone call 4 years from now. Marcus said, every machine is temporary. The only question is what temporary costs. Roy said, out here you buy the repair, the machine just comes with it. And Stan, the old Sears man, said it the way I will remember it. He said, son, there are only 2 kinds of appliances. The kind somebody can fix, and the kind somebody will replace. Everything on that sales floor is one or the other. And the sticker will not tell you which. 5 men, 1 idea. They do not shop the way we shop. We stand in the aisle comparing the day we buy it, the finish, the features, the screen, the price. They are standing in the same aisle seeing the day it breaks, which parts, what cost, who comes, how fast. And every pick on this list, and every 0, falls out of that one habit of mind. Bosch, because the breaking day almost never comes. Whirlpool, because when it comes, it is cheap and short. Speed Queen, because they moved the breaking day 20 years out. Samsung, 0, because the breaking day is expensive, slow, and sometimes unfixable. The 3 brands were never really the answer. The answer is the question they are all quietly asking, and now you know it too. And before the last thing, let me compress everything the 5 taught me into the 60 seconds you will actually spend on the sales floor, because they shop a showroom nothing like the rest of us, and their checklist fits on an index card. 1. Walk past anything with a screen. Earl says a screen on an appliance is a countdown clock with a nicer font. 2. On a washer, look in the tub. A post in the middle means an agitator, real mechanical wash. A bare plate at the bottom means the water-starved kind that half the country complains about. 3. Turn the dial, if there is a dial. A mechanical click means switches a technician can test. Silence and a glow means a board he has to order. 4. Ask the question the salesman cannot answer, which is whether the tub bearing is sold as a separate part or only welded inside the whole outer drum, because that one answer is the difference between a $40 repair at year 7 and a machine on the curb at year 7. He will not know. Watch what he does with not knowing. A good one finds out. A bad one changes the subject to the extended warranty. And Stan says, the harder they push the extended warranty, the more the store is betting against the machine, and the store has seen the return data, and you have not. And 5. Nothing through the door of a refrigerator. No ice, no water, no glass, no screen. The door is for closing. Every one of the 5 said it, and the service numbers back them without mercy. That is the whole card. 60 seconds, 5 checks, and you have just shopped like a man with 130 years of bench time looking over your shoulder. Now here is what to actually do with this. In the store, this year, and it takes 5 minutes. Before you buy any appliance, any brand, any price, find the person in your town who would fix it, and call them first, not after. First, ask 2 things. Do you work on this brand? And, what would you put in your own house? You now know why that second question is magic. No commission, no loyalty, and they are the one who would have to come back and stand in your kitchen when it fails. 30 seconds on that phone is worth more than an afternoon of showroom research and every review you will ever read. And if enough of you do it, do me one favor. Come back to the comments and post what your repairman said. Brand and town, because if a few hundred of you do that, we will have built, right under this video, the biggest honest appliance survey in the country. No sponsor could buy it, and no brand could survive it. I will read every one. And subscribe before you go, because the next video is the one the manufacturers genuinely do not want made. I traced 13 American appliance brands back up the supply chain, and most of that famous nameplate wall leads to fewer factories than you would ever believe. 5 repairmen gave me 3 names. The industry gave them 30 to choose from. Now you know what the 30 are hiding, and it fits in one sentence. There are only 2 kinds of appliances. Buy the kind somebody can fix.